Shomrabyug.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sure Look, Sure Listen, the podcast that takes a pop at culture. Sure Look, Sure Listen.
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 Oh, very good, Benjamin. In case you didn't notice, our listeners, from the new music, Ben probably should have said the festive podcast that takes a festive pop at festively popular culture, because it's festive time.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the festive podcast Sure Look, Sure Listen, the podcast that takes a ding-dong merrily on high at Christmas.
That was absolutely dreadful, Ben. Very good. Benjamin!
Yes.
Before we get into the usuals, before we hop up into the usual podcast, Benjamin, I was on a live stream last Sunday.
What?
I know, Benjamin, I know. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I don't know if you've ever heard of Brian's action figure reviews, Ben. He's a good friend of ours. He's up on the Discord.
I have indeed. He's up there on that Discord, baby.
And I tell you what, Ben, they have a culture cast. They do a pop culture live stream every Sunday, starting at 9:30 real time.
Okay.
So I don't know what time that is internationally, but the time it is here.
And do they catch a lot of fish?
They catch a lot of culture, Ben. And I tell you what, they were bereft of some hosts last week, so I very nobly, many people said, turned on my camera and joined in.
Did you say it?
Yeah, no,
or
it was
did
me.
other
Yeah,
people
I
say
said that.
it was you?
I said that.
Okay.
It was me. So Benjamin, if you want to go back and catch that live stream, you can see me discussing almost exactly the same things as I discussed on our podcast the next morning. Because Benjamin, cool. We record this first, but then theirs is live, so I preempted my own self.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
Done.
But sure, look, Benjamin, that's enough of me talking. Yeah. Well, I hope it isn't, because there's a whole podcast to go. But Benjamin, sure, look, this week we're taking a look at The Witcher Season 2. How muscly is Henry Cavill this year anyway? Also, there was Hawkeye Episode 5, the penultimate episode, Benjamin. And we're going to try and avoid spoilers in this opening description, Ben, but we also saw the greatest film of our generation, Spider-Man. He's locked out of the house. I stole your joke because you wrote it down.
You stole my joke. It's written right there.
It's written there. You don't write down your jokes, Ben, because then I'll steal them.
Sure, listen, Michael, if your joke theft wasn't enough, and it never is, you'll do plenty more, I'm sure. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, Michael, so we said to ourselves here at the Sure Look, Sure Listen podcast, why don't we do a little bloody roundup?
Yes.
Of the Christmas specials that have tickled our hearts over the years, Michael, just so we can get you in that pop culture sci-fi Christmas spirit.
Exactly, Ben. Yeah. Benjamin, just a little public service announcement for any listeners. If they are having a heart tickle, go to your local cardiologist and just let them know.
Sure look, sure listen. We care this season.
Exactly, Ben. Benjamin.
Yeah.
You haven't seen The Witcher Season 2, have you?
I haven't, no, because I only just found out it's out from you about 10 minutes before this podcast.
Yeah, it's out, Ben. It's out, Benjamin. It's the busiest popular culture week of the year so far.
It might just be.
I think it very much is, Benjamin. What with Hawkeye dropping some bombs, Spider-Man, the greatest film of our times, Benjamin, Spider-Man, Let Me In, Please, coming out.
Yeah, here. Oh, feck, I've forgotten my key and I'm
Spider-Man. Spider-Man, I've locked myself out. Benjamin, and The Witcher Season 2 is out, and I tell you what, it's all right.
It's okay. Is that all we get, Michael? Is it all right?
I have not seen all of it, Benjamin. Who has the time to see all of it?
Probably someone.
Someone, probably, but not me, Benjamin, because I've been on live streams, Benjamin. I'm too busy.
Well, that's very important, Michael. Live streams are key.
They're very important. But also, Benjamin, I haven't seen all of it because we had to see Spider-Man several times.
Several times.
But, Ben, I did see a couple of episodes, and they were mostly good.
Yes. Mostly good, you say?
Mostly good, Benjamin. As you know, Benjamin, I struggle with The Witcher 3, the video game, but as I was watching these couple of episodes, I was doing the classic Leonardo DiCaprio meme of, I know that place. That's in the game. Yes. He's hopping around on those poles, like in the game.
Like in the game.
And the first couple of episodes, at least, Ben, are fairly self-contained. They're what we would have called in the olden days a Monster of the Week episode.
Oh, I love a Monster of the Week episode, Michael.
I know you do.
I like Monsters of the Week. I think it's a good format. It can't support an entire show, apparently, but I think it's a good format.
It's funny, isn't it? Because when I was a young child, Ben, and I was watching, say, The X-Files.
Yes.
I looked forward to the Monster of the Week episodes much more than the mythology or mythos episodes.
They're better. They're just better.
I was like, no. Not this smoky fella again and the mystery aliens.
Deep dive.
No, who's having it? I wanted a werewolf or a Wendigo.
I have that every time I watch a show and suddenly it cuts to the B-plot and you're like, no, not a sinister man in a chair. Not a sinister white guy.
No. Or as you call him, a Ben. Benjamin. It was pretty good. It's pretty good. The couple of episodes I've seen are pretty good. There's sinister goings on. There's monsters. There's Henry Cavill fighting monsters. It's all right. I found them a little bit slow, but I watched them quite late at night and I was a little bit tired, so I don't think I can give a fair review.
You might have had a little bit of grog interference.
I was a bit groggy, Benjamin, but they were very good. And they seem to, from what I've seen, Benjamin, and I'm way too beyond the level of hubris to say that this is for sure, but they seem to have ditched the timey-wimey stuff from season 1.
Oh, it's about bloody time, Michael. It's not bloody Doctor Who, The Witcher, is it?
Is it, Benjamin? Is it? I don't know. Is it?
I don't know. It could be. I'm never sure with pop culture anymore, Michael.
I don't think it is. It's leaving you behind.
Crossovers abound, and it's just very hard to keep up.
Oh, very good. I see what you're doing. Benjamin!
Yeah.
Speaking of crossovers, are we going to go straight into Hawkeye?
We should go straight into Hawkeye.
All right, Benjamin. Should we just say, before we go anywhere today, that this week's episode is going to be the most spoiler-filled episode of anything that you've ever seen in your life?
Yeah, seriously, go to those time codes if you haven't seen either Hawkeye, the penultimate episode, or Spider-Man, I'm Locked Out of the House.
Yeah, but, I mean, I'm not even going to guarantee there won't be Spider-Man spoilers Spider-Man spoilers in the Hawkeye section, nor can I guarantee there won't be Hawkeye spoilers in the Spider-Man section.
We are, of course, talking about the seminal North Dublin-produced film Spider-Man,
Spider-Man, the 1914 Lockout. Benjamin, it's about Spider-Man and the unions. Ben!
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though. We've seen that Hawkeye episode 5, the penultimate episode, Benjamin.
Yeah.
And it's hard to argue. I don't think anyone could argue, but it is very hard to argue. It's very hard to beat Pug.
You're going to have to help me out there, Michael.
Florence Pugh, Ben. She's in Hawkeye.
Very hard to beat Pug, yes.
Very hard to beat her, because she keeps doing consistently the best thing in everything she's in.
Yeah, she tends to dominate, all right.
Because I tell you what, Ben, that dinner table scene with the mac and cheese...
That accent has grown since last we saw it, Michael.
Yes, having some mac and cheese, very tasty. But I tell you what, fantastic scene. My favourite scene in the whole series so far.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was great.
It is a pretty good scene, in fairness. Yeah. It's enjoyable. It's just the looming threat of having the world's greatest assassin sitting at your dinner table eating mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese, so delicious. I put the hot sauce. Benjamin.
Yes.
Is she the world's greatest assassin, though? Because there seem to be loads of them.
She seems to have been deceived again, Michael. She's had the wool pulled over her eyes again, Michael.
Constantly.
Now, Michael, there are a couple of questions here because at the beginning of this episode, Michael, we discovered what happened to Florence Pugh.
She got blipped.
She got blipped, which we didn't realise for a very long time, but very convenient for covering up the fact that she was never called in by Natasha during the 5 years because she was blipped, Michael. She wasn't around.
Very convenient. They can use that as much or as little as they want, Ben, for the next 5 years of shows and movies.
Yeah, what's that? A new character that we haven't seen in ages? They were blipped, you see.
Blipped. Not the Eternals, though. They weren't blipped.
They weren't blipped because apparently it doesn't affect Eternals.
Yeah, because they're not organic beings, Ben.
Oh, well, that'll be it, wouldn't it?
I've just spoiled the Eternals. Ah, well.
Oh, yeah. We did say it was the most spoiler-filled podcast of all time.
Yeah. Sorry about that, everyone.
Technically, we've covered ourselves.
Sorry about that, anyone who hasn't seen the Eternals but still plans to.
Anyway, we discovered that she's been working to get some extra dough. So this must be pre-Black Widow post-credit scene.
No.
It's not. She's still working for Elaine from Seinfeld.
Well, it would appear to me, Ben, if you were to piece together what's going on, it would appear that, so again, heavy spoilers coming up here.
Okay.
But Kate Bishop's mum, Vera Farmiga, appears to have been the one who contracted Elaine from Seinfeld to send a Black Widow.
Yeah.
And so Elaine from Seinfeld sent, what's her name?
Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh. What's the character's name?
Yelena.
Yelena Belova. Yes, she sent her to go get him.
Okay.
That seems to be what's going on.
Well, that was it. Okay, that's fair enough. It's a bit,
yeah.
I thought she was a government agent. I didn't know government agents did assassinations for hire.
Is she a government agent?
I think she's supposed to be, is she not?
Is she?
I don't know. Oh, Michael.
I think that's our great mystery, Ben. That's our great mystery and worry. Yeah. What's Elaine from Seinfeld up to?
Yeah, what's Elaine from Seinfeld up to? I don't actually care, Michael.
Is she trying to get herself some soup, Ben? Is she having a comic misunderstanding and ending up in jail? What's she doing?
What she's doing is Jerry being a little bit creepy, and she's putting up with it because it's her only friend group because she's quite alienated from other women.
Exactly. Is that what it's about?
Is that what it's about?
Is that what's going on?
Yeah. Listen, Michael. All we can say is very good episode of Florence Pugh. Some good stuff happening at that dinner table.
Some very strong Pugh action.
Overall, though, Michael, I felt now, and this will get me in trouble, but I felt that it wasn't the strongest episode.
I felt it was.
Oh, that's
I think it was my favourite episode.
That's very interesting, Michael. I felt that my...
No, go on.
My attention well and truly strayed in this one.
You were probably thinking about Spider-Man again.
I probably was.
You're probably sitting there watching it going, I wish this was Spider-Man.
Yeah, and it wasn't. And I think, that might have gotten me. But I just... I don't know. I didn't love this episode, Michael. It was a bit of a slow burn for me. There was some good stuff in it. I thought there were a few more inconsistencies than I would have enjoyed.
Go on.
One of the things that I really didn't understand was Hawkeye's very moody phone call to his wife being like, I have to get this done.
Yeah.
And then all he does is he smacks some people around and gives a threat. It's not really getting anything done.
He gets a lot done, Ben.
He doesn't get much done at all, Michael. He gives a few people a spanking and then...
He gets so much done.
He doesn't get anything done. And you'd swear he was off to kill everybody, but he's not.
So much done. I tell you what, Ben.
Yeah.
It is interesting that someone who has literally fought Thanos would be concerned about the... I nearly did a spoiler. Oh, no, we're doing spoilers. That someone who has fought Thanos, he's been in Aliens. He's been literally inside Aliens, Ben.
Yes.
And he's had hundreds of gribbly-grobbly aliens chasing him through a tunnel.
Yeah.
Chasing him with his magic glove. And he's a bit worried about the Kingpin.
Yeah, it's a bit silly.
The Kingpin got beaten up by Daredevil, if you remember.
Yeah, but, arguably Hawkeye has faced down a god.
Yeah. He's Thanos. He fought Thanos.
And
he nearly shot arrows at Thor.
Yeah, I don't know.
He fought Black Panther.
He did, yeah.
Yeah. He threw lots of cars at Iron Man.
Yeah, he did all that.
Yeah, so it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Like, oh no, not the Kingpin.
Maybe he is that bad.
Maybe we'll find out, or maybe we bloody well won't find out.
Yeah, I mean, how do you do that though? Do you know what I mean? How do you build up human characters to be anywhere near? Because in comic books you can ignore it. Because in comic books they all you can give them a MacGuffin that makes them as powerful or makes them as big a threat. But in shows like this, it's like, hang on, hold on, hang on.
Okay, I'm ready.
Have we not seen actual gods at work in this series?
The thing is, though, all of the other people he's fought, Loki, Thanos, Ultron, none of them were going to go after his kids.
That's fair.
None of them were going to track down and kill his kids violently.
They probably would have gotten around to it eventually, but
they would have, but not in a personal way. They would have destroyed the world and therefore also his kids. But Kingpin will send people just to get his kids.
Yeah, and the only recourse for that, Michael, is to give the bad guys a stern talking to.
No, or just give them a big kick.
Yeah, give them a little kick and a stern talking to, as opposed to disposing of every last one of them, which is what you should really do if they're after your kids. Cause it's not okay.
Well, that's how you would end up as the Ronin, Ben, if you had any skills.
Probably, if I had any skills whatsoever, Michael, probably yes.
Yeah, Benjamin, you should try and take out the Kinahan crime family. You should start
that'd go well, wouldn't it?
You should start a feud with them.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd go really well. I hope nobody from the Kinahan family thinks that's a serious threat, because many of them listen to this podcast, Michael.
That would be good, wouldn't it, if they said, lads, no more jokes about that, and we were like, oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry, lads. Sorry, Des Kinahan.
Is that one of them?
I don't know.
Okay, good,
I'm just picking an Irish name and putting it in front of another well-known Irish name. Des Kinnihan, of course, who famously guest starred in Spider-Man Lockout way back in the 90s.
Benjamin.
Yes.
Come here to me.
Oh, go on.
I had to leave when I watched this. I had to leave before the end because we were going to see Spider-Man, if you remember.
Oh, we were.
We went to see Spider-Man, and I left it on pause and said, I'll watch the end when I come back. And when I came back and watched the end, it was literally the 15 seconds where she showed him who was on her phone.
Oh, it's good, isn't it? They timed that very well, Michael.
They timed it very well for me. And I came back and went, oh my God, the Kingpin. And then Benjamin, he was in he's in the graphic.
Yes, he's right at the end. He's towering over the city, Michael.
Benjamin.
Yes.
I have found Echo/Maya a little bit uninteresting.
She's not interesting at all, Michael, because they've written her quite poorly. They've written her as just, I'm a big tough woman. Look at me go.
I'm a big tough woman and I'm out for revenge, and I can probably be swayed that it's not right. And the big tough person who thinks they've been wronged and are out for revenge and then are easily swayed back is very much a cliche, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's also very inconsistent because we've had it established that Maya has zero temper control. Because she goes to kill Kate Bishop on a whim.
Yeah.
At one point, so much so that your man Kazi has to step in and be like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" So I find it very interesting that she suddenly holds the sword back because Hawkeye goes, "Oh no, wait,
hold on a second,
hang on,
Benjamin."
Yeah,
she's like an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. character.
She is. She's an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. character in the wrong universe.
Yeah, very interesting.
Also, I'm not sure the actress is very good at facial expressions. She seems to have a default Maya expression.
Oh, her angry face.
Maya's
big angry face, which is very much a contrast to Florence Pugh's non-stop face.
Yes, which just moves around.
Non-stop moving is the old pug face. Eyebrows everywhere, bloody nose and everything. She's doing some amount of acting.
Love her. I think that's what it is.
Is that why people like Pug, Ben?
Such an expressive face.
She's very good. Benjamin.
Yes.
Who's the real baddie? Is it his mother? Is she the real baddie?
I think so. I mean, there's a couple of possibilities here for who the mother actually is.
Go on.
I don't know if she is like the Vanessa of the MCU universe. Is she going to fall in love with the Kingpin? Is that going to be, or is she going to manipulate the Kingpin? Is she manipulating the Kingpin? I don't know, Michael.
I wouldn't imagine so, Benjamin. I think as much as it doesn't matter, I think they're going to leave most of Hawkeye, most of Daredevil as canon without bringing it up, without getting into it.
Okay.
I don't think this is a reboot. I think they're just sidewaysing it in.
Okay, so it's a side-loaded new thing. Okay, fair enough.
A lot of people, Ben, on the internet are saying Madame Mask.
Yes, I also had that thought. Mainly because Madame Mask features quite heavily in My Life as a Weapon.
Your Life as a Weapon?
No, the comic book on which the entire Hawkeye series is heavily based.
Oh, Michael. Not your personal life as a weapon.
She features in that quite a bit, as is the Kingpin. And I think it could be her, but we haven't seen any prowess. And Madame Mask is a kind of an assassin extraordinaire, and we've seen no evidence of that from Vera Farmiga.
But we haven't seen any evidence to the contrary either.
We haven't. I suppose that's true, Michael.
Did you think of that, Ben? Did you think of that?
You will remember way back when we looked at episode 1, I said she was an absolute supervillain in the red dress that she wore. So she's some kind of villain. We just don't know what kind of villain.
I still think there's some sort of insurance scam with her dad.
And you think that Jacques might be just a cover for the whole affair?
I think poor old Jacques Duquesne is a patsy.
I think he is just an old patsy. I think that's... Yeah, I think that's
I don't think he's a good egg.
No, he's definitely a bad guy, and he thinks he's in on it, but they're actually just using him.
Yeah. I have a feeling, Ben, what's going to be revealed is that her dad has done a faking his death thing for insurance, and Kingpin was either involved in that or knows, and therefore has something over her mother.
A bit of leverage,
exactly. And then he's like, I'm Kingpin, I'm Vincent D'Onofrio, you better do scams for me. And she's like, all right then. Don't tell my daughter.
Yeah. She thinks so highly of me. She doesn't, though.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't rate her at all.
Not at all. I've never seen a more dysfunctional mother-daughter relationship.
4 out of 10. Worst mother.
Mum could have been better.
Yeah. Benjamin.
Yeah.
shall we talk about the greatest film of our times?
Michael, good grief.
Yes.
We went to the cinema this week.
We did indeed.
As a quintet.
A quintet, 5 people.
Mm. And what we saw, Michael...
Yes.
...was the film of our generation.
The film of our generation, Ben.
Michael, what we saw was a perfect superhero movie.
So, okay, here's the thing. We're talking about Spider-Man, No Way Home.
Yes.
What way is it? I don't know. Benjamin, let's do broadly, very broadly speaking, a couple of minutes without going into any big, huge spoilers. And then we'll just hack away at it after that.
Yeah.
And I'll put 2 time codes. One with mild spoilers and one where we just absolutely reveal everything and ruin the film.
Yep, sounds good.
Benjamin.
Yes.
I have not enjoyed a film as much as this since... Ragnarok, maybe? Thor Ragnarok?
It's either that or... Yeah, I think Ragnarok is probably a good call.
I think I enjoyed this. It's definitely better than Endgame.
Yeah,
it is
100%.
Definitely better than Endgame. And it has about the same level of fan service as Endgame.
Yeah.
But is a better structured film.
Much better.
It's actually a better film in its own right.
And it has no right to be, Michael. If you were to spell this out to somebody and say, this is what I'm going to do, right?
Yeah.
This is what I'm going to do.
Yeah, don't because we're not doing the main spoilers yet.
No.
Go ahead.
This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take villains from all the old Spider-Man films.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put them into this new universe that we've spent ages pulling together.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to do, and it's going to be a great film. If you had said that to me, and you did say it to me, lots of people did.
I did say it to you, yeah.
And I was like, no, I don't want that.
And I was a bit nervous too, Ben. I thought this isn't going to go anywhere. This is a bad idea. And I have never been more wrong.
I was completely and utterly wrong.
It's absolutely brilliant. And Benjamin.
Yeah.
As we discussed at length on last week's podcast or podcast 2 weeks ago, no great Spider-Man fans are we.
We're not.
Well, I mean, that's not true. I mean, what I mean to say is no great... We're not overflowing with nostalgia for the Tobey Maguire or the Andrew Garfield films.
We never had that.
No.
In fact, rewatching them on last week's podcast only strengthened the ire I feel for those films.
Bit of a rough time, you could say. Yeah. But this was just 2 hours of almost constant brilliance. It was
joy.
just joy. It saved Christmas, Ben. It saved Christmas. It's easily the best film of the Marvel Cinematic Universe Phase 4. It puts the films which have not been very good, and I'm mostly looking at you, Black Widow, and you, The Eternals. It puts them into such stark contrast. Little Tony Stark joke for you there. It puts them into such stark contrast, and you go, why did they make those? They should have just made this.
Yeah.
This is so much better.
I cannot get over how they pulled this off. And
it's incredible.
I genuinely think it is the best comic book superhero movie I've ever seen.
I don't know if I'm willing to say that yet.
That's okay. You're wrong, and that's fine.
Okay, that's fine.
We'll get into it on the podcast.
Yeah, but, well,
I think this is a near home run across the board for Marvel. It's just damn good.
It's so good. It's so good, Ben. Right, look, that's enough gushing. Let's get into the full-on spoilers, Benjamin.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, get down to that time code if you haven't seen it yet. Right?
Yeah.
Get on down there. Click on to the next part.
Where
you don't want to have this spoiled. You don't want it spoiled. Okay? No. You just don't want it spoiled. So on you go. We'll talk to you later. Don't leave.
On y va.
Just go to the next part. And we'll see you later. Yeah.
Benjamin. There is no way, if you're on the internet, if you're on YouTube, Twitter, the Reddit, any of the others, the Instagram.
Yes.
There's no way you haven't had this spoiled for you.
No, there isn't. But I mean, just saying, just in case people don't want
this. I actually, Benjamin, had the biggest reveal of it spoiled for me by Vice magazine.
Oh, fuck you, Vice.
I read a flippin' review, Ben.
Boo.
In a mainstream publication.
Shouldn't have done that, Michael.
I know, I'm a dumbass.
Yeah.
And I had it I had it spoiled for me the day before And they just casually say, and here we go now, here come the spoilers,
Okay, here
so
come the
this is your
spoilers.
last chance. And they just casually say in it, all of the villains are great. And of course, when the other two Spider-Men show up, the action really goes up a notch. So, oh my God, what?
Bullshit.
You absolute assholes.
That's awful.
One of the worst, Benjamin. So, the other two Spider-Men show up.
Yeah, well, there you go.
In case you didn't know.
Yeah.
Benjamin. Somehow, what I think is... So, ignoring the fact that this is just a good film in its own right,
Yes.
one of the most incredible things that it does is it manages to be redemptive
Yes.
of Tobey Maguire,
Yes.
absolute bad egg Tobey Maguire,
Yep, still possibly a bad egg. But anyway.
still maybe one of the worst eggs.
Yeah.
It manages to be redemptive of the much maligned Spider-Man Andrew Garfield.
Yes.
It redeems Doc Ock, and I don't mean the character redeems them, but it gives them the perfect little wrap up to their character arc.
Yeah.
For Doc Ock, Green Goblin
Yes.
somehow manages to redeem Jamie Foxx's Electro, although he
Somehow.
was still easily my least favourite character in the whole thing.
That's because you don't like Jamie Foxx.
I don't have much time for Jamie Foxx. I think the whole time he thinks he's too cool to be in movies. That's the impression I get from him. Is like, I'm cooler than this movie.
That's fair.
But then he played that absolutely atrocious character in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. I don't know what he's at. I don't know what he's doing.
He's just got a great agent, I think.
I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know his motivation. But it wraps up there's no need for another Raimi Spider-Man now.
No.
That's it. I'm done. I'm satisfied. We know the end for Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. There's no need for another Mark Webb Spider-Man movie now.
It's all done.
It's all done. There you go. If you were clamoring for Andrew Garfield to have his final episode and his redemptive arc and finish off the character, there you go. It's done.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's an incredible job of pulling disparate movies with disparate tones and disparate characters and disparate values into one coherent package that wraps up all three of them, but also doesn't rely on the nostalgia or knowing the narrative of the previous two to make any sense or even to be a good movie in its own right.
It's very well done, Michael.
It's an incredible piece of work. It's really the height of... I don't know if it's the best ever superhero film. Because
it is. Yeah.
It
No,
has
it is.
flaws.
No,
but
I checked. It is.
It is certainly the best ever bit of superhero extended universe. How are we going to fix this mess?
Yeah.
Work that's ever been done.
I think, there were some very clever things done as well.
Go on.
Number one, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man was rewrote heavily.
Go on. You were saying this in the cinema, and I was saying, shut up, Ben, he's doing a flip.
I didn't say it in the cinema because I don't talk in the cinema. Don't
you were whispering in my ear saying,
don't you put that curse on me.
They've really rewritten this character. And
Don't you put that on me.
And I said, Ben, he's doing a flip.
I do not speak in the cinema, Michael. How dare you? I am
Be
not
quiet,
one of those
Ben, he's doing a
boys.
flip.
Right. So, after the film, I
Yes.
said this to you, and I said that's how they made it bearable. Because one of the things that people really didn't like about Andrew Garfield is that he was a bit snide in the Spider-Man films. He's mean and snide.
Yeah, he was a bit mean. Yeah.
He's not that in this. He's far more comedic from start
He was
to
the funny
finish. He's the funny one. And so I don't know how they've done that. Mainly because I think Tobey Maguire might have no comedic timing.
He did a little wave at the granny.
I suppose he did. Yeah, that little tiny wave.
Yeah, that was good.
And that was interesting. But anyway, such an interesting way of rebranding the character and making him genuinely likable. I think there's a metric fuck ton, Michael, and that's a scientific term.
Yeah, it's different. It's equal to 2.2 imperial fuck tons. Or 4,000 imperial pounds.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah,
so there's an awful lot of tongue-in-cheek in these three Spider-Men, and especially Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man gets a bit of a lambasting from the context of the movie, because all of a sudden he's a very self-loathing Spider-Man. He's like, I'm terrible, I'm awful, and everyone that was watching was like, I used to think that about you too.
Yeah, you are the worst.
And then of course Tobey Maguire steps in and he's like, you're amazing, and everyone was like, That was
That's
the name of the
film.
And I can't believe they pulled it off, Michael. In that regard.
It's amazing. It's incredible. He couldn't even catch Emma Stone. Why didn't he just catch Emma Stone?
But of course, he gets that redemption as well, Michael.
Yeah, and he has a little cry. He's the best Spider-Man actor of the 3 Spider-Man actors.
He is.
Let's give him that.
He's the best Spider-Man actor of the 3 Spider-Man actors. He is.
Which would seem to imply that it was the script that was the issue in the old ones, not the Andrew Garfield.
I think Andrew Garfield's career post-Spider-Man has only proven that several times over. Andrew Garfield is actually quite good at his job.
He's very good at acting. Benjamin, It must have been incredibly good fun for Andrew Garfield. I don't know if it was for Tobey Maguire, because I tell you what, he seems like a bad egg.
They minimised a lot of that Spider-Man. They really reduced his, lines and time on screen, because I just don't think they wanted to give him as much.
Yeah, don't give him too much, because he might be a bit of a bad bloke. He looks like a cool Christian youth pastor.
Yeah, and they poke that fun at him as well. I found that really interesting that, he got that. There's also a good bit of tongue-in-cheek there. He says that, me and MJ are complicated, because they were always shit in the films. They were just they just couldn't get it together. So it's fun to reference that kind of thing as much as possible,
Doctor Strange is incompetent, though, isn't he?
He's
flipping dumbass.
What a fuckhead.
What an absolute dumbass.
Yeah, Wong is definitely the better suited to his current role.
Wong is the best Sorcerer Supreme. Benjamin, I have a very extensive action figure collection, and I have pretty much every character who's ever been in the MCU, and for some reason I don't have a Wong.
That's really sad.
It's a great injustice, but they've just released images, Ben, on Hasbro Pan Pulse Thursday, which I saw on Brian Regan's action figure reviews, actually.
Very good.
But and there's a Wong in that.
Well, you know what they say, 2 Wongs do make a right, so...
Very good. I'm only going to get one, because there's only one in the wave. Benjamin!
Yes?
Doctor Strange was a real dumbass. I liked when Spider-Man beat him, though.
Oh, that was good, wasn't it? So I think that's our Chekhov's gun for this movie, Michael. I think that Spider-Man Doctor Strange fight in the Mirrorverse is very important.
Go on.
Because throughout this film, they begin to sow the seeds of Spider-Man's actually very intelligent.
He's a smart lad.
They really start pushing that. We got glimpses of it in the other 2 films when he goes about using the Fabricator in Spider-Man 2.
And he's in the quiz team.
Yeah, and he's on the quiz team. But now we really get a sense of, actually Spider-Man's very good and quick thinking on his feet. And it's that amazing moment where he's like, oh, this is just math.
I've heard of math.
And he's like, I like math. And then he just starts doing it. And he kicks the shit out of him. He's just like, there you go. I did math on you.
I did math on Doctor Strange, you big dumbass. Benjamin, I liked when his body still had a spider sense, even when his soul was out of it.
Makes perfect sense. It's a sensory bodily function. It's an autonomous function for Spider-Man.
Very clever. Very good. I very much enjoyed that. Benjamin.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what they did do, though, which is an issue that I have with this.
Okay.
Why they didn't do a Sinister Six is beyond me.
Because they were one short of the full pie.
They were one short of a Sinister Six, and now you cannot do a Sinister Six film after that.
No, you probably can't.
That's it. They shot their load on Spider-Man's villains doing a big team up.
Yeah.
They absolutely shot their load on it with a Sinister Five, and then had the 6th in a post-credit scene and absolutely wasted it.
Is that what they were trying to do? Is that technically a...
Well, it's what Sony have been trying to do for years. That was one of the biggest problems in Amazing Spider-Man 2 was they were trying to set up a Sinister Six movie instead of just doing a Spider-Man film.
Yeah, too many villains spoil the broth.
So in a lot of ways, they got their Sinister Six movie in this, but they got their Freaky Five.
Yeah, their Fearsome Five, I think is the...
Why didn't they bring back Topher Grace as Venom?
Because nobody wants that, really, Michael.
Nobody wanted Electro back.
Yeah,
nobody wanted the Lizard back.
Yeah, also fair.
Nobody was clambering for another Sandman.
That's true. I was surprised Sandman was in it. I was like, okay.
Yeah, right. And it was, not only was he in it, it was also your man from All That Wine.
Thomas Hayden Church.
That's the fella, yeah. Sandman and the
and
Lizard.
All That Wine.
Sandman and the Lizard. Very good. It's the Hollywood musical version. Sandman and the Lizard were definitely the most underutilized of the villains.
Other than being a set piece, I think Sandman was a waste. Yeah,
yeah.
he was used for cool graphics sometimes.
He's barely a villain. He's not really a villain, in fact.
They used it to damp down his character motivation is very poor by the end because he's the voice of reason at the beginning.
Yeah,
and then suddenly he's just like, "No, I want to go home," and it's like, "Yeah, but just hang on, lad." Like that's what.
Yeah, I'll send you home in a minute. He's a simple fella, Ben. Benjamin.
Yeah.
Green Goblin is amazing, isn't he?
Oh, now there is one that they smashed. Okay,
absolutely incredible.
So there are a couple of very important things done to help Green Goblin really make his return in magnum opus style.
Yes.
Number one, they ditched the Power Ranger suit from Spider-Man 1, which was great in Spider-Man 1, not knocking it, would not fit in as well here, I don't think.
Well, Benjamin, it wasn't beloved in Spider-Man 1 either.
Oh, was it not?
No, at the time, people were like, what is he wearing?
Oh, okay. Well, then, so that was done for very good reason then. I think Willem Dafoe has had 20-odd years to reflect on how he played him the first time. Has probably learned some things along the way, and he's like, oh, I can still do maniacal, but I can do slightly restrained, better dialogue maniacal than that. And I was like, and he does. He nails it. He is a perfect corrupting force in the new Spider-Man, and he still plays his Norman Osborn versus the Green Goblin schizophrenia style thing perfectly. It's just a joy to watch.
Incredible. He is incredible. It is the most incredible redemptive arc for what they tried to do with him in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
Where he was back as a kind of a ghost or whatever.
Yeah.
Amazing. And the fight he has with Spider-Man in the apartment building where he's powerbombing him through floors.
Yeah.
Oh, the best use of Green Goblin I've ever seen. And then he's zipping around his glider, shooting bombs at people and being a real prick.
Do you know what? It showcases the power of the two of them so well, because I was watching, not Homecoming, what's the second one called again?
Far From Home.
Far From Home. I was watching Far From Home with my good lady friend, and she said to me, so is Spider-Man really strong? And I was like, let me tell you. Let me tell you. He has the proportionate strength of a spider, and also he's constantly holding back in the comics. This is something that's revealed as you go through Spider-Man comics. Spider-Man has to pull punches on almost everybody that he hits, because if he did, he'd just snap their head off.
Oh, they just turn into a dust.
They just turn into a paste, Michael.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that this is finally shown off between him and the Green Goblin. The two of them tear lumps out of each other.
Oh, absolute chaos. One of my favourite things about it, as opposed to Tobey Maguire's fight with Doc Ock in regular Spider-Man 2, is Tobey Maguire lands a lot of punches on Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
And any one of them should have just obliterated him.
Should have, yeah.
And Tom Holland doesn't land a single punch on Dr. Octopus in this movie. They learned quite a lot. He does one kind of pushing kick on his midriff where the belt is.
Yeah.
But he doesn't land a single punch because the arms know that if they get a punch from this guy, they're probably going to be dead.
Yeah, the arms are sentient little beings and they're like, no.
We'll handle this, please, squishy man.
Hello, meat suit. Take a breather. And
you just hang back here and we'll fight this fella for you.
Oh, it was just a phenomenal movie overall, Michael. But just coming back to that point, it completely recontextualized, because the ending of this film is it's a tearjerker.
Oh, Ben, I was jerking those tears all night.
I was feeling it in the cinema. I was like, no.
Benjamin.
Yes.
I think I know what you're going to say, so I'm going to give a bit of context to it. Isn't it incredible that after 3, 4, 5, 6 movies? Is this his 6th movie?
Yeah.
His 6 movies of skipping the Uncle Ben death responsibility thing.
Yeah.
And getting straight down to it. The whole thing turned out to be his origin story.
We never realized that this has been a 6-film coming of age sequence.
Yeah, it's incredible. He wasn't a fully formed character. He was that derided Iron Boy Jr., as people were saying.
Yeah, but that's and it's fascinating, because we always thought, this is the best we're going to get. It's still a great Spider-Man. It's not Spider-Man. It's Spider-Boy, and now we've opened ourselves up for Spider-Man. It's insane.
It's so mad, Ben. It was like it came like a full big circle, and then went, now It's Spider, and this was one of your biggest complaints about Tom Holland's Spider-Man, was that he wasn't really Spider-Man, was he? He was just a junior Iron Man.
I did make that complaint. That is true.
You did. You were like, he's just Iron Man's assistant.
For once, I actually did say that.
And now he's and then you said something very racist afterwards. I can't remember what that was, but I know what it was. I know what it was. You said that the reason you thoroughly enjoyed this film was it was nice to finally just see 3 white men up on screen being heroes.
Yeah, that's what I said.
You said finally, just someone I can look up to.
Jesus Christ.
It's nice to finally see myself represented on screen. You said that's what you said when you saw
I just
Andrew
don't
Garfield
get enough of it.
coming through that portal.
Jesus Christ. So anyway, Michael.
Yes,
this has been a 6-film sequence of coming of age, and it's really clever because you didn't have to retell the Uncle Ben story. And
it was Aunt May the whole time.
We had all assumed that had already happened. And then we were like, oh, maybe they just did away with the old phrase because it's, it's not that exciting as a phrase, It's old hat. No, they just hadn't done it yet.
They hadn't done it yet, Ben. Uncle Ben might have just died of something normal, like high blood pressure.
Yeah.
Or, might have been never around. Who knows?
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
It was never said. And people used to poke fun at that because they were like, oh, okay, we're just not going to touch the origin story. It was the origin story.
The whole thing.
And I think it's amazing. I think what we've been set up for here, Michael, I thoroughly enjoyed the end of this film because there's a less than 1 minute sequence at the end where we get Manhattan Spider-Man.
Yeah,
we get
no more Queens Spider-Man.
New York City Spider-Man. He had to make his own costume. He had to do it all by hand. We get the classic Spider-Man.
6 movies in.
In 6 movies in. And it's going to be so good, Michael, to see him kind of be Spider-Man for a bit. Do you know what I mean? I just think they did this so well. I cannot get over the way that they did this, and there are so many little sequences and things like that, like Spider-Man using his brains to beat a much bigger opponent, like Doctor Strange or something like that. Do you know what I mean? And it's all little sprinklings of, oh, actually, I'm quite competent these days.
And now, Ben, now that everyone forgets he's Spider-Man and he's disassociated from the Avengers, you can go back and you can do a Spider-Man and Daredevil teaming up to take on the Kingpin.
Yep, that's absolutely fine if you want to do that.
Yeah, absolutely fine. Oh, if you want, you can just go and do that.
Now, Michael, that brings us to our final point, I suppose. Do you think he's going to be remembered at some point?
I don't know. And this is going to be the big problem with it. This is Marvel are about to shoot themselves in the foot. They're digging a hole that can't be dug out of.
Right.
Because they've introduced the blip and the snap and the blip.
Yeah.
So everything's 5 years further down the line.
Yep.
They've introduced now Spider-Man being erased from people, Peter Parker being erased from people's memory, but Spider-Man not.
Yeah, Spider-Man's still a menace.
Spider-Man's still a menace. Everyone who... So, for example, does Doctor Strange knows that Spider-Man was with him on Titan when he fought Thanos.
Yes.
But does he just forget that it was Peter Parker?
Must be.
So he sees him with the mask on the whole time.
Yeah, he's just a constant masked person.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, that is how Spider-Man traditionally works, I suppose.
He was always nobody knows. Nobody can know.
And they've introduced multiverses.
Yes. So I think that's another important thing. Like, in terms of some of the characterization for these heroes and stuff. Well, multiverses have been building for a long time in the Marvel Universe, Michael. So I think it was well-timed in that regard. I think it sits in very well with Loki and, WandaVerse and... Yes,
but this is the first film that it happened in.
That's true.
And that means that for the mainstream viewer now, this is going to be very confusing. We're seconds away from just having to throw all sense and reason out the window.
We got very close there for a second.
It's unless they take a step back now for the next couple of years and go back to kind of grounded stuff, but they're not going to with the multiverse of madness.
Well, I think what we might be doing there, Michael, is I think the multiverse of madness is going to be a bit of a reset.
Possibly.
I think basically all the versy-worsy stuff that we've been dealing with is going to be tackled in Multiverse Madness because it's grown out of control. Because, Michael, you and I and the people that we saw the film with, we waited until the end to see our post-credit scene, and what we got, Michael, was a trailer for a bloody movie.
A trailer for a movie which you can probably see on YouTube by about now.
Yeah, by about now. And it's just, oh, Stephen, you've been a right dick.
Oh, stop it now. Benjamin.
Yes.
The trailer at the end
Yeah.
has an evil Doctor Strange.
It has, from Marvel's What If.
He looks very much like Stephen Strange from Marvel's What If. I don't think it will be him. I think we're going to get a retold origin story in that movie.
All right, well, that's fair enough, I suppose. But it's interesting how they're all intersecting now, Michael.
Very cross-sectional, Ben.
Yeah.
Benjamin.
It's going to be an interesting time. Well, hang on, just one more thing before we move on from this, because
all right.
This has largely been welcome back to Spider-Man Locked Out, the review podcast.
So good though.
But Into the Spider-Verse, the animated movie, walked so this movie could run. There's a lot of tips and tricks taken from Into the Spider-Verse to make this flow. The
thing about it is, Spider-Man has had a long history with multiverses.
Yeah.
Since the early 90s,
yep.
Spider-Man has been leaping across dimensions and meeting other versions of Spider-Man and
Madam Web.
And all that. Madam Web, exactly. The Beyonder, the Secret Wars, the Spider-Man Wars. Thing. It's always been there in the background, but it was always, I think, considered untenable to try and do a movie about it, because what makes it work is the history.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we'd had this movie...
Yes.
And there had been no Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire movies, I still think this would have worked.
Probably.
I still think it would have worked. I still think it would have been perfectly sensible.
Yep.
And I think one of the ways they could have thrown a little nod to that would be to have another Spider-Man show up who we've never seen before.
Oh, yeah, now Miguel O'Hara.
Or, you know, another Spider-Man. Say, get bloody... Let's say, get Clint Eastwood to play a really old Spider-Man.
A really old Spider-Man.
And he's like, I can't help, I'm too old.
Yeah, let's do that. You listen to Marvel?
You could have done gold. That. It was a bit of a cosmic coincidence that the only two universes people came from were the two universes with this famous Spider-Man.
That was handy, wasn't it?
Very handy.
Yeah,
very convenient. I still think they should have brought in Venom or Dane DeHaan, though. Benjamin!
Dane DeHaan can go do one. That would have been awful.
Would have been great. Dane DeHaan going, I'm the bloody Green Goblin, and William Dafoe going, no, I'm the bloody Green Goblin. You son of a bitch, you can be the Hobgoblin.
I did enjoy the little glimpses of classic Spider-Man villains that we saw in the multiverse tears. A Rhino, a comic accurate Rhino.
At least a Rhino and a Scorpion I saw.
And a Kraven the Hunter was there as well, I think.
Was there a Kraven the Hunter? Yeah. Very good. Was there a Michael Morbius?
I mean, who knows?
Who knows, Benjamin? Is Michael Morbius going to be good then?
I don't know if they're going to now sew it together. I don't know if Michael Morbius is going to just be in the Marvel universe.
I don't know. We don't
might
know,
be,
do we?
And that's why we got the Vulture nod.
It doesn't make sense because he knows Venom and he knows Vulture.
Yeah,
and they're in different universes.
They fucked it again.
You see? They fucked it, Ben. Speaking of fucking it, Ben, it's nearly Christmas.
It's nearly Christmas and I've done nothing.
You haven't bought any presents for me.
I haven't bought any presents.
Oh no.
Not one.
Not a single present, Ben. So we decided to give the listeners some Christmas presents.
Oh yeah, nice.
Nice segue. Not actual Christmas presents though. We just watched some Christmas shit.
We did. Too much Christmas shit.
Too much Christmas shit. Benjamin.
Yes.
We watched some Christmas stories from Christmas shows, from normal shows that have done Christmas episodes.
Yeah.
But we kept to the spirit of the podcast and we stuck to the genre.
Yeah, because we're a pop culture podcast, Michael, but we're a very limited pop culture podcast.
Yeah. We're not watching the nerd stuff. We're not watching the Secret Lives of Hollywood Wives or whatever that's called.
Oh, okay. I just won't talk about that one then.
Yeah, don't talk about that one. We're not watching Selling Sunset, no matter how much Netflix wants me to.
Okay, I'll just leave out that Christmas special too then.
Leave that one out as well, Benjamin. I tell you what Christmas special I watched, Benjamin. Benjamin, I travelled all the way back in time to the year 1996.
Yeah.
And you were but a swaddling babe in swaddling clothes.
I was a little baby boy.
Tiny little fella. You were having your first ever poo.
Yeah.
And that's very Christmas Eve, Benjamin.
Yeah.
I watched the classic Christmas episode, which hasn't aged that well, The X-Files, How the Ghost Stole Christmas.
How the Ghost Stole Christmas. And it's a weird one. Ed Asner, Lily Tomlin, bloody Mulder and Scully.
That's it. It's the smallest cast of any X-Files episode.
Is it?
Yeah. Only 4 cast members.
Get out of town.
I can't and I won't. But
okay, that's
there's a COVID lockdown coming.
Yeah, we're an encroaching lockdown that we're not supposed to talk about.
Yeah, I can't get out of town. I'll be stuck in town. Benjamin.
Yeah.
It's a weird one though, isn't it?
I think I went into this because I had to look up a few lists before even tackling this week's topic, Michael, and everybody raves about it. You know, they're like, "Oh, it's a little X-Files gem," and it's a weird one.
I have seen it described as the best episode of season 6 and the worst episode of season 6.
It's a very divisive figure.
Exactly, Ben. It wasn't 1996 either, was it? It was a bit later. It might have been.
No, I think you're right. I think it was.
Oh, am I? It was 96.
I think you're on the money there. I would have to double check, but I think you're on the money. I think I saw it there somewhere. Anyway, spin your wheels there and tell the listeners what's what.
So Mulder and Scully, Ben, you might remember them. They're from the X-Files.
Yes.
One of them is dressed like the Fonz. And one of them is dressed like a lady from... Mulder is dressed like the Fonz in this. David Duchovny was a very handsome man, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. And Gillian Anderson was a very attractive lady.
Yeah, they were quite the pair. And Benjamin, they are trapped in a haunted house on Christmas Eve. Through no fault of their own. No, it's entirely their own fault. Sorry.
Oh, wait. No, hang on.
They've gotten themselves trapped in a haunted house on Christmas Eve, Ben. And they're a pair of bickering old ghosts who are trying to drive them mad.
And they're doing a pretty decent job at different points.
Yeah, they do a decent job. I like the psychobabble, Ben.
Yeah, the psychobabble.
Yeah, very good. Yes. Just analysing them until they hate each other. Benjamin, there are some very effective ghost story moments in this.
It's 1998, Michael.
1998. I suspected it was a bit later. You had several poos by then. You were out of your swaddling clothes.
I was.
You were in your Spider-Man Jimmy Jams.
Yes.
Benjamin.
Yes.
There are some very effective ghost story moments in this. My personal favourite is when they dig up the floorboards and they find the skeletons of themselves.
Very creepy.
Very unpleasant, very gross.
There's a lot of gaslighting in this episode, Michael. There's a lot of...
Mulder and Scully get gaslit, I believe.
Mulder and Scully get glasses. A very Merry Christmas.
Yes. Merry Christmas to everyone who's emotionally manipulative. Benjamin.
Jesus. Yeah.
But it's a weird episode. It has a very weird twist at the end where the ghosts have shot them.
Yep.
But they seem to be dying.
Yep.
But if you've been shot by ghosts, apparently, if you are at Christmas and you've been shot by ghosts at Christmas and you realise you've been shot by ghosts, not by Mulders or Scullys, you're grand.
Yeah, so it's okay. So for the 2 people that are currently listening to this podcast who are trapped in a haunted house at Christmas,
yeah,
and for some inexplicable reason you've stuck in your Spotify and had to listen to us, you're grand.
Lads, if you're there, hop up on the Discord. We'll come and get you.
we actually will come and get you.
We'll come and get you. You're grand.
We wouldn't want that to be the case. We'll come and get you.
We need every listener we can bloody get. We'll come and save you from ghosts.
If you'd also like to share the episode with the ghosts, that'd be great.
Yeah. If they have Spotify accounts, get them to hop up on the Discord as well.
Yeah, it'd be great.
That'd be fantastic. Benjamin, it's not very Christmassy, but I think one of the reasons it's a beloved episode is Mulder and Scully exchanging little tatty gifts at the end.
Yeah, it's a good little bit of banter, isn't it?
It's a good little bit of banter, and it's a good little bit of Christmas and a nice Christmas moment. This probably was broadcast in the middle of summer in 1998.
More than likely, they all have to do one in the American cycle of TVdom. You have to make your Christmas episode, and you have to make your Halloween episode.
Exactly,
and it's bloody exhausting, Michael.
I tell you what,
yeah,
Ben. Xena Warrior Princess had a Christmas episode.
Oh God,
and I only have the vaguest of memories of it being about some sort of baddie. It's a Christmas Carol, Ben, and I don't mean Carol Danvers from the Avengers. It's a Christmas Carol. It's Scrooge McDuck's A Christmas Carol. And who wrote that? Charles Dickens.
Charles Dickens.
Yeah. And I could not watch it again because it is absolutely physically impossible to find Xena on a stream in Ireland.
Is it?
Yeah, you can't watch it.
Probably because it's really bad, is it?
No, well, I don't think so. I think Xena's all right. It's Hercules that's about a racist, but Xena turned out to be be all right. I think no one's worried about Lucy Lawless, but you can't for love nor money watch Xena in Ireland. Some of the seasons are on Amazon, but only in the UK.
Okay,
not in the UK, in the US. Some of them are on Apple iTunes. I'm not paying for Apple iTunes to watch episodes of Xena. It's very strange. So you can't watch it. So I didn't watch it, Ben. I didn't watch A Solstice Tale.
That is... you didn't...
Might be a bit of a downer for the old podcast, but I just didn't watch it.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, that was excellent podcasting.
Thank you very much.
Very, very long lay-in for... I didn't actually get around to that.
Yeah, I didn't get around to it, so I don't know if it's any use. Benjamin.
Yes.
Did you watch any Christmas episodes?
I did, Michael. I also watched A Very Supernatural Christmas.
Oh, what happens in that?
A Very Supernatural Christmas, Michael, centers around... Well, as we know, Sam and Dean, they're out in the road.
Two brothers.
They're two brothers, and they have a strong bond, Michael.
Yes.
Yes. And they're out in the road, and they're going on about, and they come to a little town, Michael, where they're getting a report of an anti-Santa.
Right.
And they're like, what do you mean an anti-Santa? Explain that there.
Yes.
And what it turns out is there's a Santa Claus coming down the chimney, but he's grabbing up kids and eating them.
Yes. Oh, no.
And you don't want that, Michael. You don't want that. That's not really what you want in your home. So... this episode is interspersed with different little flashbacks to Sam and Dean's terrible Christmases on the road, because their father was a shite father, you see, and took them all over the country to hunt monsters, but usually left them in motel rooms until he finished a job. Because he was what the psychology books call a shit dad.
Shit dad. It's 4 out of 10 shit dad.
And so the Christmas little vignettes are of little kids who kind of exchange presents, but they don't actually have any money, you see, because they're hunters and they don't live a life of luxury, Michael, and they don't have anything like pocket money because, again, shit dad.
Shit dad, no use.
So this keeps happening. And so we get lots of little vignettes as Sam and Dean are hunting down the anti-Santa. And it turns out, Michael, that the anti-Santa are two old pagan gods.
Oh.
Yeah. And they masquerade as a very kind of Mr. Rogers, Bing Crosby, bloody It's a Wonderful Life couple. One of them who looks like Mrs. Claus and the other one who looks like Bing Crosby on a day out from the domestic abusers asylum.
Right.
And they are, the toast of the town and everybody loves them. They're so kind and lovely, but they're only gone and being bloody pagan gods that require a sacrifice every Christmas, and that's why they eat people.
Oh no, someone should probably put a stop to them, maybe with some Hollywood.
Maybe with some Oh, look who's seen the episode and let me spin my wheels anyway.
Benjamin, I've seen most things.
Yes, and they put an end to it. And Sam and Dean save Christmas by putting an end to the two pagan gods. And they never really did a Christmas episode ever again.
And everyone was happy.
And everyone
Benjamin,
was happy. Yes.
I watched an episode of... actually, the last episode of Channel 4's Black Mirror.
Oh, yeah. No.
And I'll tell you what, it's called Black Mirror White Christmas.
Yes.
Which is, there's a delicious bit of wordplay, because Black Mirror but White Christmas.
Yes, it's a comedy of contrasts, Michael.
Exactly. And it's got John Hamm, your favorite pork product, John Hamm.
Yes, Jonathan Hamm, and it's got Raph Spall. Rafe Spall, I think is how we say
Rafe?
it, but I'm not sure.
Is he a Rafe? And I'll tell you what, Ben, they're doing the Christmas classic. They're doing vignettes.
Oh, so many vignettes, Michael.
You know it's a Christmas... No, it's three. It's 3 vignettes. But you know it's a Christmas classic when there's vignettes.
So many vignettes.
And Ben, some of the vignettes... None of the vignettes are terribly Christmassy.
No, they're not. The framing device is, but the rest is definitely not.
The framing device is very Christmas, where there's 2 men in a cabin and they don't like each other, but it's Christmas. But then the vignettes are just classic Black Mirror. Oh no, something horrible has happened, something to do with technology.
That's awfully sinister, isn't it?
A bit of old horrible sinister technology stuff going on.
Sinister with a USB port, Michael. The Black Mirror formula.
Exactly, Benjamin. And then obviously the whole has a big twist in the end. Benjamin, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Oh, they're very freaky.
They're very good. My personal favourite, Benjamin, is the one with Una Chaplin. Is that her name?
I think it's her, yeah. Charlie
Chaplin's granddaughter, where you can make a copy of your personality to power your home devices. Yeah,
I don't like it.
No, it's very gross, isn't it?
Very harrowing, and it's it theoretically, existentially possible.
Yes, and if possible, Ben, extremely likely.
Yeah, they will do it. They'll definitely do it. My favorite part about that, Michael, is that it's treated like your classic Apple product launch or your typical smart home salesman. It's like, this will make your life easier. This will do this. This will do that. It's, flawless technology, really easy to do. And what it boils down to is John Hamm being an absolute dickbag to a little machine.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating look at. It's like, we don't actually know how this works. We do it through threats and coercion, and that's why your life works.
Yeah, gross.
And it's
very horrible.
So gross.
It's like having a job, Ben, but existentially.
Yeah, so gross.
So Benjamin, just let's talk about it a little bit, because not everyone's necessarily seen it.
Go on.
So what happens is, to power your home devices, to power your Google Smart Egg, they make a copy of your personality.
Yeah.
And implant it into the device.
They do.
But of course, Ben, if they make a perfect copy of your personality, it doesn't want to be in the device.
Why would it? It's a being with free will and sentience.
Exactly. But Ben, they can make time pass, and they can make time pass at 1,000 years in 1 second. And
you won't die because you're a little AI copy.
Oh, horrible.
Yeah, no.
Just 1,000 years in a bloody white room until you behave. Oh, gross.
It's awful.
Oh, one of the worst concepts in the whole show.
Yeah, very effective.
Terrible,
very
terrifying.
harrowing. Not
harrowing. Very festive at all.
There are a couple of episodes that also run out of that. So we find out that Jonathan Hamm is a kind of an expert in this sort of fictional universe, simulation junk.
Yeah.
And once we see that episode, Michael, we get a sense that those two men in the cabin aren't having a great time.
No.
What's going on?
It's a bit of a twisty-wisty.
So we find out as we go along. So there's a couple of different episodes. We also get John Hamm being a pickup artist, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then, that's also creepy stuff because he's using little communication technology and seeing through the same eyes. And of course, he only goes and gets himself tied up in an old murder investigation, Michael.
Oh, classic.
Awkward. Yeah, and I think the central line of a lot of these episodes is, Christmas is the most wonderful time of the year for some people, and for other people, it's a very harrowing experience and really damages them.
Yeah, and try not to be a murderer. Try not to be so gross.
Yeah, try not to be so gross. And also, don't do anything bad against kids or they'll get John Hamm.
They get John Hamm, your favourite pork product, and mine, John Hamm.
Yeah.
They'll send him after you.
And he'll get it. He'll learn. He'll put it together.
Very harrowing.
Rafe Spall, real dickbag by the end of this show. I suppose what we've given you, ladies and gentlemen, is a pile of Christmas specials that might actually tarnish the spirit of Christmas. And for me, Certified Grinch, I'm okay with that. That's fine by me. Yeah. If you're looking to watch any of these with your children, don't.
No, don't. They're very harrowing.
These are very adult Christmas specials. Don't do it.
Are there any nice Christmas specials, Ben?
Probably. I haven't seen them.
I thought you watched bloody Doctor Who.
I suppose that's nice. All right, so Doctor Who does a Christmas special every year. You son of a gun.
Nearly every year.
I nearly made it. Nearly every year. It's really whatever they decide at the time. And sometimes it's Christmas themed, and other times it's just a special event.
Yeah.
So the Christmas themed ones are usually very much in the spirit of Christmas. The first one that we ever got was with David Tennant, and it was about a Victorian doctor that David Tennant wasn't aware of. But there's a man running around Victorian London, classic Dickensian Christmas, claiming to be the doctor.
Is he though?
And of course, David Tennant goes, no. I'm the doctor.
I think I'd know.
I would fucking know because I remember all my past lives, you see. Because I'm trapped in a Siddhartha nightmare that's never going to end.
Unpleasant. Very unpleasant.
And so we go through that, and it turns out the Daleks are there. Classic Daleks. Daleks hate Christmas. Fun little
bunch of messers, those lads.
Bunch of messers. And we got that one. Other Christmas specials have been where Julian Sims, or the Master, takes over all of London at Christmas time.
Oh, that sounds like fun. I think I did quite enjoy that.
Again, very harrowing, Michael, because he transforms the Doctor into a haggard little man by accelerating his actual real-life life. And making it manifest physically. So he's thousands of years old, and he looks like a thousands of little shriveled little guy in a cage.
Very good.
And they use little drones, like copies of the Monster Machine from the Phantasm series. You know, the little spiky ball thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's one of those. That's a less Christmassy themed one because it doesn't really have much. But the one that I watched for this one, Michael, was Doctor Who: A Christmas Carol.
Oh, very on the nose.
Very on the nose, Michael. So much so that this centers around a rich, miserly dickhead from the planet Carts.
Oh.
Carts. Now, it's not London.
No,
It's not
sounds a lot like London, though.
Just looks like Victorian London.
Right, but it's
but
not.
it isn't.
Okay, just in case we were wondering. Right.
And come here to me. You might think that you're being clever by saying it's just Victorian. It's not, right?
Right, it's not. It's a different place.
It's the planet Carts.
Right, a different time and place.
And that miserly guy could save the whole planet because there's an impending doom, and he could do it with his money and technology. But guess what, Michael?
He probably won't.
He's a bit of a bloody Scrooge.
Oh, he's probably not interested. He probably wants to save his own time and money.
So Michael Gambon is this particular Scrooge, right?
Michael Gambon.
Michael Gambon. Michael Prawn.
Of screen and stage.
Michael Prawn is there.
Your favorite prawn product, Michael Gambon.
Michael Gambon, not to be confused with Jonathan Hamm. But anyway, Mickey Prawns is there, and he's playing Scrooge. And it falls to the Doctor, Michael, to travel backwards and forwards in his timey-wimey machine as the ghost of Christmas past, the ghost of Christmas present, and the ghost of Christmas future. But it's not Christmas because they're not in Victorian London. It's carts, right?
Very clever, though. Very clever to have the time traveller be past, present, and future.
He's all of them. He's all of them.
I like it. That's clever.
And his assistants,
yes,
the lovely Amy Pond.
Oh, and Rory. They play different characters at different times. So, Doctor Who borrows the convention of Christmas past, Christmas present, Christmas future, and each one of them plays one of the spirits. Oh, very clever.
That's the central conceit. Very Christmassy Doctor Who episode. Is actually quite nice. Maybe give that a watch.
So they're just gaslighting this guy?
Yeah, they're just gaslighting this guy. Really, all Christmas specials can be, you've been gaslit. Merry Christmas.
You've been gaslit by angels. You've been gaslit by Doctor Who. You've been gaslit by ghosts. You've been gaslit into being less of a prick.
A very merry gaslighting. That's what we'll call this episode.
Very good.
Yes. A very merry gaslighting. Ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
That's it. We're done. That's the end of the year.
That's the end of the year, Benjamin. We didn't have an end of the year wrap up because the year was shit, but let's just go through it very quickly. Best film of the year, Spider-Man.
Yes, hands down across the board. We didn't do Mickey's. That's really strange. We normally
do this year's Mickey's. No, I don't think we did them last year either. It was too shit.
It's just been too shit 2 years in a row.
Yeah, it's been too shit, yeah.
Okay, best TV series?
Best TV series for me was... I don't know if The Expanse came out this year, but it's still my favourite show at the moment.
Very good. I'm going to say, controversially...
Yes?
Hawkeye.
Oh, very clever. It's not even over yet. It could be a disaster.
It's not even over yet, so I do have recency bias, but I do think it's the best of what Marvel gave us this year.
Yes, it is, for sure.
Yeah. Favourite... good egg of the year?
Good egg of the year, Benjamin. I'm going to go with Henry Cavill.
He doesn't seem to get in too much trouble. Sure, he doesn't.
He doesn't, and he seems to be one of our people, Ben. He's playing video games, he's doing Warhammers, he's being in Superman.
No, so Henry gets it. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it to me. I'm good. I'm going to give it to me.
Oh, very good. Yeah, that's exactly what the good egg of the year would do.
Yeah, exactly. Selfless. Speaking of people that do selfish things, bad egg of the year?
COVID again.
I think COVID's going to be our first ever 2 year in a row.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to give it that one.
COVID has managed to beat out Harvey Weinstein 2 years in a row, so that's how bad that is.
Well done. Well done to COVID.
Let's put a quick round of applause for COVID.
Yeah. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, what were your top picks for the year? Do get in touch with us in a bunch of different ways. You can find us on the interwebs at www.seomrabeag.com, seomrabeag.com.
It means tiny room in Irish.
You can find us on the gram at Sure Look, Sure Listen podcast.
It means Sure Look, Sure Listen in English.
You can get in touch with us on Twitter at ListenSure.
Yeah, you can.
You can. You can also get in touch with us in the best possible way and have in-person chats with us digitally, of course. Live chats, I think is what I meant to say there. Get up on that Discord, baby.
Even if you've been kidnapped by ghosts, we'll come and get you.
We'll come and get you. No other Discord offers that service. We are a certified ghost rescue service. Only if you listen to the podcast, though.
Yeah.
If you don't, get off the Discord.
If you hop up on the Discord and you need us to come and rescue you from ghosts, we're going to ask you a trivia question about the podcast.
That's the verification code. You need that. So that's it from us, ladies and gentlemen. We really appreciate you listening to us all over the course of the year. We'll be back the second week in January, Michael.
That sounds about right.
Yes, we'll be back the second week in January with a brand new episode. We haven't decided on what it is yet. We're going to go content cook over the Christmas period.
Yeah.
And we'll see what we come up with.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, everybody. Have a happy New Year.
Have a very merry gaslighting. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.